the endless darkness of the universe, I was just a cloud of dust, cold, aimless, and alone. In truth, I was more like an idea than an object, a concept of matter drifting through an almost empty void. I was woven from primordial hydrogen atoms, a little helium, and tiny dust grains, precious remnants of stars long gone. These grains, specks of silicate and carbon, were the memories of the universe, the legacy of magnificent supernovae. For millions, sometimes billions of years, time meant nothing to me. I just drifted in almost absolute silence, in the bone-chilling cold of space, only a few degrees above absolute zero. There was no day or night, no beginning or end, only a vast, dim existence. In moments that stretched like millennia, I looked up. I saw with my diffused being, feeling the light from distant siblings, radiant. They were stars. They sparkled like diamonds on the black velvet of the universe, proud and full of life. They burned with energy, producing light, warming the worlds around them. They had purpose. And me? A cloud of gas and dust, potential yet to be awakened. And deep within every hydrogen atom of me, a longing began to sprout. A primal urge, a wordless question. I wanted to be like them. I did not want to remain in cold darkness forever. I had a dream to burn once, to shine once. The life of a molecular cloud like me is a symphony of silence. I could stretch for hundreds of light years, yet remain unbelievably sparse. If one of your spacecraft flew through me, they might not even notice. My density was lower than the best vacuum humans have created on Earth. A ghostly presence, a phantom of matter. My neighbors were clouds like me, but separated by parsecs. We were lonely islands in the ocean of space. Time passed, 1,000,000 years or 10 million, like the blink of an eye. I drifted, witnessing the universe unfold in its grand silence. But the universe always finds a way to speak. Cosmic rays, high-energy particles ejected from cataclysmic events, pierced me like invisible arrows, carrying stories of supernovae and colliding galaxies. And then, there was light from stars long dead. Light that had traveled millions of years to reach me. As it passed through, it left traces, allowing me to read their story. I knew they, too, had been born from hydrogen and helium like me. And when they died, they scattered heavier elements into the universe, precious dust grains that had now become part of me. Iron, carbon, oxygen, the aspect of life, all forged in the fires of stars. We are all, literally, stardust. Deep inside me, another force always whispered. That was gravity. Every dust grain, every hydrogen atom, no matter how small, pulled others toward it. It was an intrinsic longing to reunite. But the whisper was too weak. The tiny internal thermal energy was enough to make my gas particles dance constantly, resisting the pull of gravity. I was torn between the gravitational force's desire to collapse and the freedom of thermal motion. Perhaps the first seeds of my collapse did not come only from outside, but had been sown from the very beginning, through the smallest quantum fluctuations or ancient gravitational waves that created tiny imperfections in my structure, just waiting for a nudge to awaken. This delicate balance had trapped me for eons. I was a giant seed, capable of producing an entire forest of stars, yet I did not know how to sprout. The dream of shining seemed impossible. I needed an external impact, and the universe, in its chaotic creativity, had listened. In a distant corner of my sight, there was an ancient star, much larger than your sun, a blue giant that had lived a glorious but short life. I saw it change. Its light was no longer stable, flickering like a candle in the wind. It was reaching its end. And then it happened. Without warning, the star vanished in an unimaginable flash of light, a supernova. In an instant, it shone brighter than the galaxy that contained it. It was the most spectacular cosmic fireworks, a glorious and violent death. The entire outer shell of the star was blown into space. The light from the explosion reached me first, like a silent lightning bolt signaling a great event. But that was only the prelude. Tens of thousands of years later, the real shockwave arrived. It was not sound. It was an invisible wall of matter and energy, a cosmic tsunami sweeping everything in its path. When the shockwave hit me, my millennia of silence shattered. It was like a giant hand crushing me. The sparse regions of my gas were compressed, density increasing thousands of times. The sensation was both terrifying and exhilarating. My peace was gone, but so was stagnation. This was the summons I had unconsciously waited for. The shockwave did not just destroy, it also created. By compressing me, it gave gravity a decisive advantage. In compressed regions, matter was now close enough for gravity's pull to dominate. The internal struggle within me finally had a victor. The external nudge had broken the balance. Now, nothing could stop me from a new journey, collapsing inward. My dream was suddenly within reach. The chaos caused by the shockwave created dense regions within me. These regions, your astronomers call Bach globules, were the seeds of new life, dense cores where gravity had full control. I was no longer a single cloud, but a nursery of stars. My story now focuses on one of those cores. The fall began. Not a fall through space, but a fall inward. Every particle was pulled to a single center. The more it collapsed, the stronger gravity became, and the faster the collapse, an unbreakable loop. I was falling into myself. As I collapsed, I began to spin. Any previous random rotation was magnified many times. Like a figure skater pulling in their arms to spin faster, I did the same. As my size shrank thousands of times, my rotational speed skyrocketed. This spinning reshaped my fate. It prevented everything from collapsing straight inward. Matter at the poles fell straight down, but matter at the equator was flung outward by centrifugal force. I was no longer a sphere, but a complex structure, a hot central core surrounded by a giant rotating disk. This disk, called a protoplanetary disk, was a world of its own. A swirling storm of matter where tiny dust grains collided, stuck together, forming pebbles, then rocks, and eventually, perhaps, gas giants or rocky planets like Earth. My legacy might not just be light, but an entire system of worlds. Meanwhile, at the center, I was transforming. Matter continuously fell in, colliding and generating tremendous heat. The gravitational energy of the fall is converted into thermal energy. From just above absolute zero, my core now reached millions of degrees. Then a milestone came. The central core became hot and dense enough to radiate infrared light. I was no longer a dark cloud. I had become a protostar, an embryonic star. I glowed, but only from heat, not yet from nuclear reactions. My dream was very close, but the real challenge had only begun. The protostar phase was chaotic. I was no longer passive. I had become a growing cosmic being, devouring matter from the surrounding disk. Every gram increased my mass, density, and temperature. I was eating the cradle that had birthed me. The rising internal heat created outward pressure, resisting the relentless squeeze of gravity. A terrifying internal war. Gravity wanted me to collapse. Thermal pressure wanted me to explode. I was trapped in between. This stage is known as T Tauri stars among astronomers. I was a cosmic child, full of energy and instability. One of the most striking signs of this turbulent youth was bipolar jets. From my poles, I ejected streams of superheated plasma stretching light years. They were my first fiery breaths, sweeping away leftover material and asserting my existence. Meanwhile, deep in my core, pressure became unimaginable. Temperatures soared, 5 million, 8 million degrees. At these temperatures, hydrogen atoms lose their electrons, becoming bare protons. My core was a searing ocean of plasma. These protons, all positively charged, repelled each other fiercely, like neighbors who hated each other trapped in an ever-tightening room. This electrostatic repulsion formed a massive barrier, the final challenge between me and my dream. To become a star, I had to overcome this repulsion. Gravity needed to press them close enough for the strong nuclear force to act. My core temperature climbed toward the magical number, about 15 million degrees Celsius. My entire being trembled under the tremendous pressure. The decisive moment was near. Would I have enough power to succeed, or would I fail, becoming a brown dwarf, a star that never truly shines?
15 million degrees Celsius. The moment had arrived. In my core, where pressure and temperature had reached insane levels, the impossible happened. The kinetic energy of hydrogen nuclei overcame electrostatic repulsion. Two protons collided. One transformed into a neutron. The proton and neutron combine into a deuterium nucleus. The process continued. Light nuclei fused into heavier ones, forming helium. But most importantly, a small amount of mass disappeared. It did not vanish. It was converted into pure energy, according to the most famous equation in history, E equals mc squared. It was the moment of enlightenment. A brilliant gamma-ray burst was born. Then another. Then trillions more. Nuclear fusion had officially begun. A sustainable atomic fire ignited in my heart. My dream had come true. The energy flowing from the core created immense radiation pressure, finally halting the collapse caused by gravity. The great struggle ended. A glorious new equilibrium was established. I no longer shrank. I had stabilized. I had become a main sequence star. It took hundreds of thousands of years for a photon to travel from my core to the surface, but finally, it escaped. And in that moment, for the first time, I shone upon the universe. It was my own light, born from my burning heart. After millions of years of darkness and cold, after a journey of transformation, I had become a beacon of light in the endless night. I was no longer a dreaming dust cloud. I was a star. I was the embodiment of a dream fulfilled. I was shining. My new life, the longest and most stable phase, had begun. For billions of years, my task would be to convert hydrogen into helium, maintaining the fire that gave me life. Every second, I transformed millions of tons of matter into energy, releasing it as light and warmth into space. But my journey did not end there.
my legacy was more than light. The protoplanetary disk continued to spin, containing the seeds of new worlds. At a suitable distance, on a forming rocky planet, my energy would warm its surface, allowing liquid water and nurturing the beginnings of life. My story is a great circle. I was born from the dust of dead stars, awakened by the death of another. And one day, I will die too. I may gently shed my outer layers, or I may end in a magnificent supernova, scattering the heavy elements I created into the vast expanse of space. And those elements will become part of new dust clouds, starting the creative cycle again. From ash to light, light to life, and back to dust. The eternal symphony of the universe. I was once a lonely dust cloud, longing to shine. Now I am that star. And perhaps, somewhere far away, a sentient being made from the very elements I forged will look up at the night sky, see my sparkling dot, and begin to dream. My story is your story too. We are all stardust, and we all have the right to dream of shining. If the journey from cosmic dust to a shining star inspired you, click like and subscribe to explore more wondrous stories of the universe with us. Now, we want to hear your story. Share in the comments below. What is your dream of shining? And what are you doing to make it real? Thank you for listening.